There is a way that you can earn a perfect score on each of your TOEFL speaking responses, even if you have an accent and you make grammatical errors. First of all, what you need to know is that most people think that they have to speak perfectly well in English to get that perfect score, and it's just not true. The truth is that you start with a perfect score and you maintain that perfect score by following specific rules that the graders use to score your response. These rules are called the rubric. It's the only thing that makes the TOEFL speaking section fair. Now, when you know what the graders are listening for and you give them what they want, they give you what you want, that respectable passing score. Now, the rubric that you see online is often very confusing, and it's meant to be. I'm going to show you the rubric that the graders use to determine your score. Let's take a look. Now, this is the unofficial TOEFL IBT speaking rubric for the questions to earn the highest score in the speaking section. Number one, you must speak in English only. And that's a yes or no. You either speak in English only or you don't. Number two, you must enunciate your words clearly. And that means that when the graders are listening, they understand the words you're saying. Number three, you must answer the question completely. Now, this is important because many of the questions have several parts that you have to answer. And if you don't answer all the parts, you get a lower score. Number four, have no long pauses or extra words interjected, such as or Now let's talk about this one for a moment because it's so common. Everyone that answers the questions have these long pauses and extra words unless you know how to control it. And let me tell you the secret. The reason we have long pauses and extra words during our response is that we're thinking while we're speaking. And to avoid these long pauses and extra words, what we have to do is think and then speak. So the way we do this is take notes. You take notes, you keep your eyes on your notes, and while you're thinking of what to say, you close your lips. You can't say or with your lips closed. So we close our lips, we look at our notes, we breathe in through our nose, think what we're going to say, and then breathe out through our mouth while we're speaking. And again, this is how we control our long pauses and extra words by closing our lips, breathing in while we're looking at our notes, thinking of what we're going to say, and then breathe out through our mouth, speaking to our purpose. Got it? Let's move on. Number five, give reasons, examples, and details that are relative to the topic. For question number one, you will determine what the examples and details are. For the other three questions, you will be given the information that the graders are listening for. This is very important. The graders have notes of the main parts that they're listening for in the questions. So make sure you take accurate notes of the information in the passages. Number six, this is extremely important. You must use connection words and phrases such as one reason, another reason, for example, furthermore. Many people lose a full point out of 4 because they don't use connection words and phrases. It's not something that we do naturally and it must be practiced. Number 7, you must use proper grammar. Notice that I said proper grammar, not perfect grammar. Do you remember at the beginning when I said that you can make some grammatical errors in your responses and still get a perfect score? That is true. Be aware of the common mistakes that people make. One of them is subject-verb agreement. Remember that a singular subject gets a singular verb and that a plural subject gets a plural verb. When you're talking about males and females, the man is a he, him, and his. The woman is a she, her, and hers. These are common mistakes that the graders are listening for. So when you're taking your notes and you have that time to prepare, write down whether the subject is a singular subject or a plural subject, and write down the verb. If it's a man or a woman that's giving the lecture, write down the he or she. That will help you to get that perfect score. Let's continue on. Number 8, you must use the correct vocabulary words. The graders have notes of the information from the passages, and they have the vocabulary words from the passages that they're listening for. If you interject words that don't belong to the passage, you will get a lower score. So while you're taking notes, you want to take notes of the main ideas and the details that are given about those main ideas, including the vocabulary words that they give you. And by the way, if you don't know how to spell those vocabulary words, or you don't know what those vocabulary words mean, it doesn't matter. Spell them phonetically, and you don't have to know what a word is or what a word means to just say it. I explain how to use these vocabulary words in your responses in my TOEFL course. Let's continue. Number 9, responses with complex sentences earn higher scores. All right, don't let this talk of complex sentences scare you. You can use 2 simple sentences to tell your story, but if you use complex sentences, you automatically get a higher score. Let me give you an example. 2 sentences. I'm going to the mall, period. I'm going to buy a pair of shoes, period. Now here's a complex sentence. I'm going to the mall where I'm going to buy a pair of shoes. Or I'm going to the mall and I'm going to buy a pair of shoes. You see, being complex doesn't mean complicated. When you're speaking, keep your grammar simple and to the point. Use the information that the narrators gave you. Take accurate notes and use your notes to construct your response the way the graders want you to. Now, if you don't know how that's done and you've been using templates, I strongly suggest that you go to my course, learn how to structure your responses the way the graders are listening for so that they can automatically give you that respectable passing score. I have one more message that I want to convey. Take a look. Ultimately, if you want to get a respectable passing score, speak to the purpose of each sentence. Practice making complete, concise, grammatically correct sentences and use vocabulary words you know to be appropriate. Remember to be sure to use connection words and phrases to join ideas. If you do pause, do so between sentences and not during them. Pauses between sentences are less noticeable unless they are unnecessarily long. Remember to think and then speak. To avoid extra words such as or eh, practice closing your lips when thinking of what to say next. I really do want you to pass your TOEFL IBT, and you can master the speaking section in just a few days when you know what the graders want and you give them what they want. If you'd like to know more, go to my online TOEFL video course where you can learn how to pass your TOEFL IBT with a respectable passing score in just the next couple of weeks.